Hi guys, welcome to one of my many Sunday recordings in the car. So, when I think about the fundamentals of money management, budgeting plays a really important role. But yet, most of us either don't budget at all, or we start budgeting and then we stop, and essentially budgeting is either optional or non-existent for most people. The thing that most people struggle with the most is that most people struggle with being consistent when it comes to budgeting. And I see this budgeting thing as being right at the heart of kind of money management. It's actually a really important part, especially if you are right at the beginning stages of trying to work towards this journey of financial independence. So today we're going to unpack 5 ways you can stay consistent, you can stay motivated to do budgeting consistently. My name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is to give you the tips, the insights, the practical hacks to help you work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. So I'm going to kick off, as I do these videos, very informally. I'm going to read you a quote by a guy called E. James Rohns. Okay, here's the quote, right? Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. I completely agree with this quote. In fact, consistency is closely related to so many other really important kind of principles, such as perseverance, for example, which you need. I've done a video recently about the 9 qualities you need to achieve financial independence. You can check it out. I'll put a link somewhere there, so you can check that out yourself. Consistency has played a major role in my life when it comes to financial success. Very ordinarily, without consistency, in fact, I would not be able to deliver these videos to you guys. And so that very quality of consistency is one that you can apply almost across every aspect of your life, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your friendships, whether it's in your work life, whether it's in your money management. And so I'm going to now unpack for you guys 5 ways you can stay motivated. Okay, so I'm going to look at my phone because I've done a few notes so we can get started. The first tip is to set real and clear goals. Okay, so what do I mean here exactly? In fact, I'll ask you, how real are the goals you've set yourself? How tangible do they feel as goals? Do you feel like you are fully aware of what that goal means to you and how it could help change your life, perhaps? A lot of us set goals simply by just typing them into our phones, or just by telling ourselves in our heads that, oh yeah, my money goal for this year is this much, and that's it. I think for budgeting to become a thing that you actually prioritize and practice and turn into a habit, you first need to set goals that are super clear. And by that, I mean they are absolutely visible, okay? So if your goal, for example, is to become, to kind of get rid of, say, £10,000 of debt this year by the end of December, that goal has to be completely visible, okay? Because if that goal is not visible, then you are not motivated to employ the tools you need in order to start to work towards those goals every single day. And what I find with budgeting is that for it to become something that you become consistent at doing, you've got to actually make it a part of your daily life almost, okay? Which means that for your daily life to feed your budget, you have to be fully engaged with some really clear and real tangible goals in your life, okay? So the first tip is set real and clear goals. Make those goals as real as possible. Have discussions with your partner about them if you've got a partner. Make those goals very visible. Write them out. Put them by a bedside. Put them up wherever you want. They have to be real and clear and tangible in order for you to then engage budgeting as a tool to kind of work you towards achieving that goal. I kind of see a budget as a compass pretty much. If you imagine you're at sea and you've got a compass to guide you towards achieving your set goal, the budget is that tool in your money management toolkit that will help you kind of navigate the many challenges that come when it comes to kind of fighting off the many demands for your money in order for you to stick to that budget and work towards achieving your goals. I did a post recently on our blog at thehumblepenny.com called Why Setting Goals is Important for Debt Freedom. So if you're somebody who's trying to become debt free, for example, this year, I'll put a link to that below and above. Go and read that post because I really share some really important practical gems that you can apply to your life today. The second tip for staying motivated with budgeting is to share notes with others. One of the most important ways for staying committed towards a particular goal is to go public with that goal. A really good example of this is a friend of mine who texted me back in October and told me that she was focusing on only buying essentials this month. And what was interesting was that month was actually her birthday. And I thought it was fascinating that she texted me to tell me that she was only going to focus on buying essentials. When most people, when it's their birthdays, you're more likely to spend a lot more money in that particular month, okay? She was trying to become debt-free and kind of working towards that goal. What she didn't realize was that she had gone public with that goal. She had essentially texted me to say, hey, look, hold me to account. You know, you're my accountability partner for making sure that I achieve that goal. Okay, so a really good way to stay motivated with your budgeting is to put it out there. What it is that you are using that budget to do. What is your goal around your various cost areas that you are trying to stick to in a particular month? Are you trying to cut down on your food budget, for example, or are you trying to hit a particular income goal in that particular month? Because remember, budgeting is not just about cost areas, which is one of the many misconceptions that most people have, primarily because most people seem to only have one income and then try to distribute that income to a bunch of costs. Budgeting is also about your income, i.e. if you've got particular income goals that you're trying to achieve, you are also then budgeting, i.e. aiming for those various income goals and trying to hit them by setting goals around them, okay? So a budget isn't just about your costs only, it's also about your income, which is what you see in many businesses today. I do this even as a CFO in my kind of day job. We do a budgeting process every single year, and that budgeting process is focused massively on what are we going to make this year in income and how do we distribute that income across these various areas of business expenses, for example. So go public with your goals, go public with the various things you're trying to achieve, and they'll keep you motivated, primarily because they'll keep you accountable. Number 3 is to understand the pain of paying. So you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about here, Ken? One of my favorite psychologists in the world is a guy called Dan Ariely, who wrote a really important book called Predictably Irrational. I'll share that book. I'll put a link to it above and I'll put a picture or something for you guys to see. And I love this guy, Dan. You can kind of look him up on YouTube if you want, but he is an American psychologist and the work he does is actually really important. And he did a piece of work around, you know, what aspects of our money lives, i.e. in the way we pay for things, do we find the most painful? You know, do you feel the most pain when you pay for things by cash, or do you feel the most pain when you pay for them by credit cards, by plastic? I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Which is the most painful? Well, of course, the answer to that is that you feel the least pain when you pay for things by credit, by using a credit card. And this is fascinating because you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with budgeting? Well, it has a lot to do with budgeting because if you start to engage cash as your preferred method of paying for things where possible, you will feel the most pain when you try to pay for those things. And by feeling the most pain when you try to pay for things, it forces you to kind of hold back from paying for those things or making unnecessary expenses. I found this to be really, really fascinating. I'll put a link actually. In fact, you should go and watch this when you have some time, to this YouTube video that Dan Ariely made on the pain of paying. So the point here is where possible, engage paying for things using cash where possible, and keep away from using plastic. In fact, I did a video recently about why making money less real changes our behavior, i.e. the more we lose touch with what money is in our day-to-day lives, the more our behavior changes. We start to lose idea about the concept of quantum, how much we're actually spending, because we're spending what seems like virtual money. Okay. I'll put a link to it below and above. I've covered quite a fair bit of research in that post. I think you should read that if you've got some time, because it really, really points to why a lot of us spend a lot more than we are making every single month, and the budgeting process becomes something that we lose complete control over and just don't even prioritize in our lives, in order for it to become a habit that then helps to control our financial lives in a positive way. The fourth way to stay motivated so you can budget consistently is to do an ongoing review. Okay, so it's one job actually doing the budgeting, i.e. setting yourself a budget in various categories of your expenses and income, and actually then trying to keep within that budget in the month. The other bit that most people actually ignore is the ongoing review, i.e. taking the step back to actually see how you performed your actuals against your budget. Okay. We do this in business all the time. When we prepare, say, management accounts for a business, you are always comparing your actual performance in the month to what you expected to do, i.e. what your budget was in that particular month. Okay. So doing this ongoing review is a really good way to spot really bad habits or to spot trends that are going on within your budgeting process or your expense life or your financial lives, basically. Doing that review is a really good way to do that, because you can look over a period of time. You can say, I'm going to look over the last 3 months. I'm going to download my bank statements electronically on Excel, for example, or whichever budgeting tool you use. And I'm going to use that to then look at how my expenses have varied from actuals to what I expected over a period of time. Okay, so that's a really important thing to do. Make sure you do your ongoing review every single month, because that helps you stay motivated. Because if you spot a pattern, you can then work towards kind of changing that pattern in the next month, and over time see that start to normalize to what you want it to be. To make this really effective and real, I'd highly recommend having a money day in your diary. So this would be a day that you sit down with your partner, if you've got one, to actually go through the practical process of looking at your expenses from the perspective of a budgeting process. Okay, so you're looking at what's actually happened in the month. What did we expect to happen, and why did we exceed these various areas if possible? And where you've stayed within your budget, it might be a good time to kind of celebrate and kind of have a high five to celebrate that win of maybe sticking within that budget and within that category for the month. The fifth way to stay motivated to budget consistently is to use the right tools. I cannot stress this particular one enough. Okay, now you can use any tools you want for your budgeting, right? But I know for certain that using the right tool, one that encourages conversation and one that actually gets you involved in the process, is actually really, really important, such that you're not fiddling around and you're not kind of losing the motivation to actually do the budgeting itself, which is what you need to do. I think the best budgeting tools out there are ones that give you the information in a really simplistic manner. You're able to actually engage with the process of budgeting, and you're able to have as much flexibility in order to kind of input your numbers and do various things that you might want to do to get the look and feel and the results that you want from your budgeting process. There are many tools, there are many apps out there that you can use, so feel free to check them out. We personally use something we've called the Budget for Life. Okay, it's actually our personal budgeting tool that we use at home, and we've turned into something that other people can actually get hold of and start to use for themselves if they're interested. I'm going to put a link to it below and above for you to check it out and see if it's something you're interested in, if it's something that you might find useful for your own financial life. I will also cut through now to give you a bit of a demo of what the Budget for Life looks like, so that you can kind of see how practical this is in helping you understand your numbers, so that you can, engage in conversation and use it as a tool to kind of help you manage that aspect of your financial life. So this is the Budget for Life. I'm going to give you a quick demo of how it works. So here you can see there are different tabs. You've got guidance notes to tell you what the next steps are and how to use this. Your income tab, so what is your income? So various lines of income here that you can choose. your expenses, shows you various categories of expenses that you can have, line by line based on the type of category you're looking at, such as transport costs and home living costs and so on. Then you have a summary, so your budget summary tab that gives you a summary of all your results and then gives you a verdict at the end. Okay, so let's go through this line by line and tab by tab so you can see how this works. Okay, so I've pre-populated some numbers here just to make life very easy for us. So in this tab, all you have to input here is your income. Let's say you're a couple, for example, that have 2 incomes in a home, and you also have a side hustle here. Okay, and all you've got here is this budget just works out automatically your total for the month. You can actually do this weekly, monthly, or annually. Okay, so that's all this does, is enter your types of income here for the month. Next, you move on to your expenses tab, and this is where you have 2 key areas. This is your expected expenses for the month and your actual expenses. So let's say you're budgeting at the beginning of the month and you expect to make some savings investments, you expect to give some charitable donations, you expect to make some insurance costs and home living costs and so on, transport costs and so on. So you've outlined or you've entered, you simply just type the cells in and everything's calculated automatically what your expectations are. Then at the end of the month, and this is why I love this process because it really helps you engage with your numbers, you go and you get your figures, say a download from your bank statement or wherever, and you simply just enter what actually happened that month, line by line. So what did you actually do? How much did you actually give? If you wanted to give some money, what was your expenses across each category? So you can see in this example, for example, this person expected to spend £40 on life insurance, but they actually ended up spending £30. So this is just a hypothetical example. And if I scroll down here, they were expecting to spend, say, £200 on, say, their travel, so their rail fare, but they ended up spending £300, maybe because prices had gone up or something to that effect. So you enter these numbers, you can do them weekly or monthly, but you simply populate your numbers and then they get summarized in this tab automatically by category. So it gives you totals of all the key expense areas, so insurance, home expenses, living costs, and so on. And this is what I really love. It gives you total monthly expected and total actual spend. So you're looking here in this example, for example, this person was expecting to spend £220 in the month for travel, transport, but they ended up spending £350. So the red means they've overspent, and you can see here it's automatically populating, tells you you'll spend more than you expected or budgeted. And where you spent less, in this example, for example, they spent less on insurance, for example, you can see it goes green. Then it gives you a total. And then this beautiful chart here explains to you what's happened by what you expected to spend and what actually happened. So, for example, the 42% here in yellow was meant to be total home expenses, but you actually spent only 41%. So you can kind of look at the various areas of your expenses graphically as well, which I really love. And this is populated automatically for you. Finally, it gives you a verdict, looking at your actuals, so your actual income for the month and your actual expenses. These are all automatically populated. Here you can see this individual made, or instead as a home, they made £5,400 and had total expenses of £3,400, leaving them £2,000 extra cash. Here it's all green because here, again, the verdict is that you're spending less than you're earning. And there you have it, guys. That's the budget for life. Feel free to check it out in the link below or above and explore it for yourself.
I really hope you've enjoyed this video today on how you can stay motivated to budget consistently. Budgeting should not be a pain at all. It should be something that we actually look forward to doing because we know it's helping us work towards our desired goals, okay? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you are somebody who has struggled with budgeting, please let me know in the comments what your struggles are with budgeting. You know, what aspects of budgeting do you find a pain? If you are somebody who budgets consistently, I'd love to know what has helped you in that journey towards becoming somebody who budgets consistently. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button because it helps with the engagement with our videos and encourages other people to watch our content. If you're new to our channel, my name's Ken. I'd love to have you back. Please hit that subscribe button below and that notifications bell so you can get notified when we publish content twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Guys, as ever, thank you so much for watching. We love having you always watching our videos. I look forward to seeing you again on our next video. Don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Take care and bye. See you soon.